We've been drawing this partridge in a pear tree as part of a festive project over in the art membership. And in this video, here's a shortened version of the full tutorial where I'll share some of my process and the colours used for creating the pears. Really hope that you enjoy the video, and let's get started. So this is the pink white, and I'm going to use some circular strokes to put a nice pink white base layer into the middle of this pear. It doesn't matter if it's not in exactly the right place, it's just got to be roughly in the right place. I'm also going to put the pink white into the middle of this pear, but what I am going to do is I do want to take those pencil lines out. You don't want your pencil lines in the middle of those light areas. So that was the pink white. I'm going to come in with the coal grey one, or you could use that silver grey that we've already been using from the luminance, doesn't really matter. I'm going to get a little bit of coal grey one into that bit on the top, just looking for places where it just goes a little bit more blue, a bit cooler. I'm going to bring it around here as well. And the trick with this is to just use really, really light pressure. That's all I want to do, use really light pressure. This is the ivory, and pretty much everywhere else now where I haven't put the coal grey one or I haven't put the pink white, I'm going to bring this ivory in. This little bit around here, under here, I'm going to come back with that coal grey one, bring that to the edge around there. And I just want a nice light, even coverage. And let's just work in with this earth green and bring a nice light, I was going to say base layer, it certainly is an underlayer, isn't it? Bring this underlayer around the side of this pear. There's a couple of indents in the pear there, and I'm just going to bring those in. Just looking for the greens that are slightly bluer. I want to make sure the pencil strokes come around in the direction that the pear's coming in. So we start to create those curves. I'm going to take the dark sepia and I'm just going to plot in that tiny dark bit on the edge. I don't want to lose that. So I'm just going to put a couple of marks in to suggest that tiny little bit on the bottom. Otherwise I think I'd start to lose that. So this is the May green. Bringing it around. Again, I'm following the curves at the way the pear's going. So I'm looking at the reference photograph, following those curves. Really, really light pressure. I don't want this to get heavy at all. I'm going to bring it around the bottom bit. I'm also going to bring it out on this side as well. I don't want to go all the way into the middle. I don't want to go all the way into that pink bit because we've got this lovely highlight in the middle here. So just taking it to the edge. I can go round and over that blue, the blue-green that we put in rather, and take it around this side as well. Bring it around this way when we get up to the top up here. This is leaf green. I don't want to put this everywhere. It's quite a bright, strong colour. I'm just going to follow around, start to create this shape. So let's just bring this leaf green around the base around here. I'm going to work along the right hand side of both of those little dips that I've just put in. Again, I just want to use a glaze, otherwise this is going to get very, very strong and very heavy, and I don't want that. I'm going to bring a bit of this leaf green around under here, following the shape round. I'm going to come in with some darker greens in a minute. But before I do that, I'm going to start to bring a bit of this orange in. So this is the burnt ochre. I'm going to use really, really light pressure. And I'm going to use tiny, tiny little dashes, working down the pear or in the direction that I can see this orange ochre colour. Just working this colour off the top. I've just switched to little scribble strokes. Just coming down the side down here. I'm going to bring this burnt ochre into this triangle bit that I was talking about earlier, and also just take it around the edge around here. And I'm just using circular strokes to just get the suggestion of some of this colour down. I'm going to bring this burnt ochre in right on the bottom, working out from this dark bit, and again just following around that direction. I can see that in this lighter area there's a tiny little bit of pink as well, so this is the cinnamon, and I'm bringing some cinnamon into this pink area, just using little dashes, bringing these little marks. This is probably one of the only areas where we will actually see a few marks on this pear, so I'm just going to bring these marks around in the direction, and it's sort of coming around, following around, and then they come down the middle. I'm going to come back to these colder greens again now. I'm going to bring some of these colder greens through. This is the juniper green, and I'm going to bring some of this pencil through the areas that I put that cold green on to start with. I'm going to use a combination of directional strokes and probably more circular strokes actually, because you can't really see too much direction. To be honest, I'm really looking for a coverage that you just don't really see any pencil strokes. That's what I'm really looking for. And then I'm going to come back and blend it with a slightly warmer green again. I want to keep just using little dashes. It just gives a suggestion of some pattern there. I'm going to go over the dark a bit. Start to blend it in. I don't want, you can see here I've got quite harsh lines at the minute. I don't want any harsh lines. There wouldn't be any harsh lines on the colour of the pear. Switch to these little circular strokes. Blend out that colour. And I can do that because I've put the pigment down, or the layers that have gone down underneath, they've gone down with very light pressure. So they're sitting on top of that surface of the paper, which means then I can just fairly easily push them around. I want to start to blend these pears a little bit now. Now at the top up here, I'm going to use, this is the silver grey from the Luminance. This is where I'd put the cold grey originally, that base layer. So I'm just going to blend with the silver grey. And if you don't have this, you can definitely just use your cold grey one, that's fine. I'm going to bring this around the top where I said it was slightly more of a cold grey colour. So I'm using circular strokes because what I want to do at this point is to push the pigment together a little bit and to soften it down. I'm also going to use either the cold grey one, or for me I'm using this silver grey. I only want to keep the silver grey or the cold grey one around the sides where we've put those colder greens. Just blend that around there. Then I'm going to come in with the ivory and I'm going to blend into this area where we were concentrating on this triangle. It doesn't matter if the colour goes over and into the bluer areas, that's just going to help with the blending. So I'm going to bring this around this middle bit, just using circular strokes again, letting those colours come together. And in the middle, I come in with the pink white and just blend over everything that's gone down, letting it blend over into the areas where we've just put the ivory. Doesn't matter. You can do the same on this one as well. So let's start with the silver grey or the cold grey, whatever you're using. Let's bring this around, just using these circular strokes. And I don't always need to use the circular strokes. If I want to preserve some of this pattern that I've put in, then I can just use directional strokes. Then I'm going to blend with the ivory where we've put more of a yellow green in. And again, it doesn't matter if we don't do it exactly right. It doesn't matter if it's not in exactly the right place. As long as we've got ultimately some darker bits on the outside of the pears so that we've started to get this 3D shape to the pear, that's all we need. I'm not really worried about the pattern. Just going to blend that around there and then into the middle bit with the pink white again. I'm going to bring the Payne's Grey right onto the edge of this pear, right where I've put the cold greens. I don't want to take this Payne's Grey too far in, but what I want to do is to start to shape this pear just a little bit more by adding a bit more depth right on the edge. Like I said, I don't want to take it too far in. It has got to come down here. I'm going to bring it down here, around the edge of that leaf. Now, The dark sepia will go into some of these areas as well to darken it down, but I want to make sure that we've got the Payne's grey, the bluey grey, into areas that just need to be really cool, to stay cool. I'm coming in with the light yellow ochre and I'm going to use circular strokes. I can take it over the greens that have already gone down, that's fine. That's going to help with the blend again. I want to bring this darker colour in to basically just make the pink bits in the middle just a bit smaller. Just bring the colour in a little bit more. Now the nice thing about using the yellow like this is that as it goes over the greens, it's going to change the colour of the green a little bit, which is quite nice. We want those greens to just change a bit as we put the yellow ochre down there. I'm just keeping the direction that I can see on that pear, softening down that edge. Let's do the same on this one. Let's come around the edge, always light pressure. And what I'm looking for all the time is that little flat end on the end of the pencil. That's going to help me put a glaze over this pencil without putting really harsh pencil marks down. I don't want really harsh pencil marks. I'm going to come back with that May green. Just warm up some of these greens on the edge. And all we're doing is we're just working from the darker colours on the outside towards the lighter colours on the inside. So we're building this 3D shape. Just going to bring a little bit of this May green down the middle, just to tint what's in the middle here a bit. It's certainly lighter, but it just needs a bit of a tint of green down the middle. And also I'm just going to do that on this side, but it's such a light glaze. And when you think there's nothing coming off the end of the pencil, that's probably where you want to be with your pressure. Certainly for something like this, we want to build this up with glazes, and glazes are just almost non-existent layers of pencil. I'm going to bring in the burnt sienna now, and I've got quite a sharp pencil, but I'm still pressing on really, really lightly. I'm going to start to bring in some of this lovely rust colour that's on the bottom. So I'm just using scribble strokes. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work around these bits at the bottom that are the shape of the bottom of the pear. I'm also going to work around where I put this dark sepia in, just working out and away from that little bit on the bottom. I'm going to bring this burnt sienna around the edge in a bit of a pattern, just using little scribble strokes, just looking for where there is that lovely rust colour. Don't need to make it heavy. I'm going to bring a bit of this texture around here just to suggest this pattern, and I'm just using little scribble strokes, little directional scribble strokes. I'm going to make sure that I follow around the way that the pear's going, follow the shape of that pear. Let's put a little bit of the cinnamon on the top. Burnt sienna would just be a bit too strong. I want a bit of pattern on there. Burnt sienna would just be a bit too strong. I'm going to use the dark sepia to bring a little bit of shadow around there. I'm just following the edge of that leaf around there. Bring a bit of detail into the side of this pear here. And make sure that this is nice and dark on the bottom. And then I said, didn't I? I said I was going to bring a little bit of the dark sepia over where we put this Payne's grey, and that's what I'm doing now. Bring a bit of the dark sepia, just darken down that edge. Got to keep this pressure light. This is that brown ochre again, and I'm going to extend this bit out around here. Again, light glazes, but I can go over the darker colours. That's going to help to blend and create a bit of pattern anyway. I don't want to go all the way to the edge because it is quite light. Come back in with this May green on the edge. I'm also going to just dot into the middle there, just a little bit of dark sepia. That's pretty much all I can get in there. And then I'm going to come back to this burnt sienna again. I am just dotting a little bit of pattern in now. I'm dotting a bit of pattern in and I'm just following around the outside. I just want to blend and bring this together and just smooth out this texture a little bit. Plus, on this side, it's a little bit more desaturated around here as well, actually. So I'm going to take the white pencil and very gently, I'm not pressing on hard, but I'm just going to go over the edges. So there, for instance, I don't know if you could just see that just by using that circular stroke, that has pretty much blended out that edge. That's what I wanted to do. Now I've been able to do that because the pencil has gone down really, really lightly underneath. I don't always want to use circular strokes. Around here I don't really want to dislodge this pattern now that I've put in, so I'm going to come around in the directional strokes. I just want to use the white to just take a little bit of the colour out so it's not quite as intense. I'm going to take a little bit out around here as well. So here, because this was that bluey green, and I'll probably even put a bit of Payne's grey around there, I'm not sure. As I'm desaturating it, it's just going back to a nice lighter blue colour. It's got the green tint to it, but it's a nice light blue colour, and that's really going to help. I think that's probably all I'm going to do on that pear. The only other thing I'm going to do is just take the cream and just blend around this bit around here with the cream. And that's it. Here's the final portrait. Really hope that you've enjoyed this video and that you found it useful. If you have and you want to follow along with the full tutorial, you can find that over in the art membership at www.teresajoyfineart.com now. If you have any questions, then leave me a comment. But that's it for this video. So I'll leave it there. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.